Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
This episode is powered by Poddex.
Thank you for tuning in today. You are now listening to That Will Never Work podcast with your host, Maurice Chisholm. Hey everybody, how are you today? As y'all well know, we have been doing this series on building a brand. And so here is, I think, one part that when we talk about building a brand, that a lot of people associate branding with, which is their logo. And understanding with the logo, yes, it is one part of building a brand. It is not the whole part of building, of a brand. But it is one of those visual elements of the brand that helps to identify and distinguish you in your customers' minds, right? It's one part. It really is. And that logo can be very, very strong. It can be very unique. It can be something that as soon as someone says your name, your brand pops up, or even they talk about your logo, and as soon as that logo, they say the logo, your name comes up. Whatever way it is, one way or the other, people should be able to say, hey, you know what? This is who you are, what you are, things like that. And so one of the things that, as I was starting Chisholm Group LLC, a lot of you know that I have been in church, right? And I grew up in church, and that was one of the main parts of my life that really influenced me in everything I do. And being in church, that's what encouraged me to start the business. That's what, allows me to be able to speak and not be 100% afraid because I'm used to doing it in church. And so when I started doing Chisholm Group and I looked at my logo, or I created a bunch of logos, and I could not settle on one. So, I said, you know what? I'm just going to do typography or letters. And with those letters, I decided to, I had decided to do lowercase. I thought the lowercase letters spoke to me, if you will. And I think it showed a way of building something from nothing, right? A lot of times people look at lowercase letters as not being powerful, as not being regal or anything like that. But let's understand that in building my logo, I thought about the lettering very heavily. That is very important. I thought about the color, right? For a long time, and understanding that originally when Chisholm Group was started, it was not by me. It was actually done by my wife. So the idea of the logo, I really wanted to represent who she was originally. So does your logo speak to who you are, what you are, where you plan to go? Is it speaking to your mission, your values, your personality, your positioning, and or your voice? So for myself, when you think about my logo, which is a lowercase c and a lowercase g, the roundness of the letters, some people would say that speaks to community. It speaks to unity. It speaks to love. And so the roundness of the letters or sometimes the roundness of a logo can speak to those types of words, action words, if you will, because love is an action word. Unity can be an action word. So does your logo speak to who you are and what you're trying to create in the minds of the people? So I really want to create a community where I was able to push out my tagline, my mission statement, if you will, which is to educate, empower, enable for people to impact the world. That's what it means. That's where we're looking at. We want to educate individuals. We want to empower them so they can feel enabled to impact the world. So we're trying to build a community first within ourselves, next with those that are around us, and then eventually the global community as a whole. And in that time, in that building that community, we are building unity and showing love in the process. So my logo, I wanted that to speak to that, because Chisholm Group, when it first started, we were talking about health and wellness originally. So we were really trying to build a community. We were not business consultants originally. We were dealing with health and wellness because my wife's previous job, there were quite a few organizations that were partnering with a larger organization, the Arthritis Foundation. And she really, really loved that job. She thought they were making a real impact, and she wanted to partner with them. And so we were looking to build Chisholm Group to be a partner and to fulfill some of the other needs that individuals had within the community. So that's why we looked at the softer lines also in a lowercase space to not feel overpowering over individuals. And the other part was the color, which is purple. Now, it's more of a lavender-ish, like it's a softer purple, if you will. But again, that speaks to royalty and being luxurious. We wanted to provide excellent service at a high, very, very, very high level. So when you think about being royal, being luxurious, being in control, that is the purpose of creating that type of logo. For one, build a community and love, but in the same time, we are feeling powerful and feeling like we are royalty and that we mean something to each and every one of you. So now let's go back. We did, the first logo was orange, and orange is high energy. And for those of you, so if you're understanding what I'm doing right now, I'm kind of educating you on the shape of your logo. Now, again, I did topography. You can do shields and shapes and things like that. But I'm letting you understand that for my particular logo, this is what we were looking for. And when we had started off with orange, unfortunately, it did not speak to us for that time, and doing more research and really digging deep into what the colors really mean, and orange being high energy, is like red, because red is passion and excitement, or it can be passion and excitement. So if red is passion and excitement, and orange is just like it being high energy, another high energy color, then was that who we were? And when we thought about it from a position of health and wellness, everyone does not feel high energy all the time. Maybe we should have gone green, which is more nature in essence, or money, but more nature. So maybe we should have gone to another color. But originally we thought about orange, Our tagline was in green, though. We thought those colors worked together, but we didn't like it together. So as you're evaluating and building your brand, is your logo, which is that one element of it, is the one of the visible elements of your brand. So in this building of your brand, understanding what is your color and your design. How important is it? Do your research on what these colors mean. Do your research on shapes and sizes and things like that. And then as you are finding that out, as you're understanding that, does what you currently have speak to what your mission really is? And then we'll get into a little later into building this identity for yourself. Thank you very much for listening today, and I hope that this has helped someone out tremendously.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.